number of years, we have seen a lot of terrorist attacks that have been committed by criminals that claim to act in the name of Islam, while in reality, Islam is a religion of peace. And the majority of the Muslims have always condemned these terrorist attacks. The Muslim world themselves has been a victim of all these attacks. Most of these attacks do happen in Muslim countries. The ISIS, for example, is very active in Iraq and Syria. Recently in Pakistan, more than 150 children were killed by terrorists. These terrorists have no religion, but they do justify their attacks with religion. They use religious text. The reason is because their understanding of religion, Islam, their interpretation is a very radical interpretation. I believe that as Muslim scholars and leaders, it is not just sufficient that we condemn these attacks. At the same time, we must acknowledge that there is extremism found within Muslims, and there is a radical interpretation, false interpretation of Islam that is given rise, that is being popular among youngsters due to false propaganda and due to the global spread of this ideology, extremist ideology, by funding by certain Middle East countries. So I believe that a website that will actually de-radicalize these youngsters, Muslims that have a wrong, distorted understanding of jihad, of Islam, will be the best effective method to counterattack terrorism. In fact, this is our jihad. Jihad is a noble cause, noble peaceful struggle. This is our jihad against radicalization. So on this website we will have lectures, we will have articles of Muslim scholars throughout the Muslim world that all will highlight the true message of Islam and jihad in particular. At the same time, there will be an option which is unique in Ireland, that if somebody wants to report suspicious activity, somebody wants to report an extremist preacher, extremist individual, or an extremist website link, social media link, they will be able to report it to us, and we will then forward this information to the Gardaí. So appropriate action and investigation will take place, and the whole purpose is to annihilate radicalization, extremism in the name of Islam.
And how prevalent is radicalization in Ireland amongst young Irish Muslims?
It is very minimum. First of all, we have about 60,000 Muslims living in this country. Most of them are very peaceful people, but there are always these individuals. It could be 3, 4, or 5 people, and we have seen that last year a number of youngsters, approximately more than 5, according to many reports, they traveled to Syria and Iraq to join the militants, and they obviously were well radicalized. So what we want to do is we want to stop that radicalization through this website. At the same time, most of the youngsters that have traveled from the UK or Ireland or other European countries, they traveled because they were radicalized through social media. So the best way to confront and the best way to counterattack this is also, again, through internet and social media.
And do you think that there's a misconception in terms of the types of training that goes on, jihadi training? You know, I mean, do you think that people have a perception that there's, you know, training going on in Ireland and that that's incorrect? I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. No such training exists and takes place in Ireland. These training centers where the distorted version of jihad is trained, is propagated, are not found in Ireland whatsoever. So we do not need to be worried. But what we need to be worried about is that there is extremism within a small number of percentage of Muslims. And we as Muslim leadership must counterattack that by propagating the true message of Islam and educating our Muslim brothers and sisters.
Do you think it's difficult for Muslim people in terms of their societal perception following things like what happened in Paris in the last couple of weeks? Do you think that that has an impact on the day-to-day lives of, as you say, ordinary, happy-go-lucky, good-living Muslim people?
Absolutely, it has a very big effect. We have seen that the last few days, discrimination against Muslims has risen. We have seen in our Islamic Center, many people have reported that they were the victims of discrimination, racism, due to the French attacks. These attacks in France that we totally, absolutely condemn were the actions of certain individuals. They were not the actions of the Muslim world, and they are absolutely not justified according to Islam. But unfortunately, some people will always blame Islam for it. And we have seen a number of reports of members of the Muslim community that have been the victim of discrimination and racism due to them being blamed for the French attacks.
So give us your website address and talk us through again what we can find on that site.
The website address is jihad.info, www.jihad.info. You will find lectures and many articles on Islamic concepts, including the concept of jihad, and many educational articles that will inform the viewers the authentic teachings of Islam when it comes to jihad, when it comes to other aspects of our faith. At the same time, on the website, there will be an option of reporting suspicious activity, to report a suspicious extremist preacher, extremist individual, or an extremist social media link.
And you're optimistic and hopeful that this website will become quite popular amongst particularly the young?
Absolutely, especially the message. Already I have received a lot of great feedback from the Muslim community, so I am optimistic that inshallah, God willing, this will be very effective in de-radicalizing the youngsters.
Perfect, thank you very much. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
That's fine. That's fine. Thank you very much.
That's great. Brilliant. So we'll get a couple of general shots